what are the pros and cons, if any, of extreme minimalism? So,
Youheum, are there pros?
yeah.
Are there cons? Are there both?
Well, in my practice, yes, definitely. Yeah. Because I just do what I love. And the result is extreme minimalism. Yeah. Just continuously doing that. So the
So
benefits
And
is
did you say
happiness.
there are any cons?
the benefits is happiness. Yeah.
Yes.
So what are the
The
cons?
cons?
Are there any cons?
To be very technical, I would say it takes a lot of time. Yeah. To figure it out. Yeah. And maybe I get tired of tapping into myself. And some days, I'm not so in tune. I'm not as mindful. I'm not as calm. So dealing with that part of myself as well during the practice of extreme minimalism. That's the tough part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, nothing in life worth doing is easy. So certainly it's going to be difficult to practice extreme minimalism. But, if anything, your extreme minimalism helps you deal with like the imperfectness.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that is worth putting in the effort for. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if I just take the word extreme out for a moment, are there pros and cons of minimalism? Yeah, I think the pros certainly outweigh the cons. Although I will say that I think some people have more of a predisposition to be a minimalist than others. Do I think minimalism is inherently useful to everyone? No, not necessarily. I think there are quite a few people who are completely contented by the status quo. And if you are really happy with the status quo and you get really happy from accumulating more items, then who am I to say, well, that is the wrong way of living? However, if you feel discontented by the way that you've been living, if you feel discontented, especially by the material possessions and the desire for more that you're experiencing, then minimalism is a great tool. Now, the con side of things is we dealt with a question earlier today about, what if I reach the goal of minimalism and now I'm not happy, or I've reached the goal of minimalism, now what do I do? The biggest con is people mistake minimalism as though it were an end result. Of course, minimalism is not the end result, though. It is merely the path that'll lead you toward a more meaningful life. It is not, in and of itself, a meaningful life. And so we often get confused thinking that this blunt instrument is going to solve all of our problems as soon as we get there. But you're not going to get there. As soon as you reach the horizon, a new horizon will appear.
Yeah.
Kathleen has a question for us, Ryan.
Yeah. Before we move on to Kathleen's question, I do want to say the one con that I can think of is the judgment that people will have,
yes,
the ostensible judgment. But here's the thing, though, is I was talking to a friend yesterday, and they were talking about how if you're living a life that is 100% in alignment with your values and beliefs, if you're living your best life, people will want to assassinate you. And that's how you know you're doing it well. So it is a con, but I'd rather have, people judging me rather than going with the flow and living a life of discontent.